Hey guys, what's up? So for starters, I just want to let you guys know that my background looks a little tiny bit different, and that's because I'm not currently in the same setting. I'm filming somewhere else. With that out of the way, we're just going to get into the intro. We just started this video and your fan already turned off by itself.
I'm not touching that.
So, two things I'm just gonna let you guys know before I start this video. So, one, my sister, my obnoxious big sister, is currently eating a bag of hot Cheetos in the background. So, if you guys can hear her bag and her chewing, then that's what's happening. Also, I have the fan on because it's really hot in here, and, yeah. So the day that you're currently watching this, it is actually October. So yeah, it is the beginning of October, and you guys know what that means. It means Halloween is coming up, and because Halloween is coming up, I have decided to do a Halloween series, and this is going to be a 5-part series, and there's going to be a lot of fun, conspiracy, scary, paranormal videos here. So I hope that you guys really enjoy this series. We're going to be talking a lot about Ed and Lorraine Warren, and for those of you who don't know who that is, they're basically paranormal investigators. We're going to be talking about 3 of the artifacts that they currently have in their occult museum and what is so creepy about them, their story, and then 2 of the hauntings, and 2 hauntings that you guys might know, which is the Amityville haunting, and I said that so wrong, Amityville something haunting, and the Conjuring haunting. So yes, we're just going to be calling this the Occult Museum series. So I really hope you guys enjoyed the series, and we're just going to get on with the video. So in today's video, we're going to be talking about the Conjuring mirror. And this mirror now resides in the Occult Museum that was owned by Ed and Lorraine Warren. Obviously now only owned by Lorraine since Ed sadly has passed. We're just going to get straight into the story. The Conjuring mirror is one of the more famous artifacts in the Ed and Lorraine Warren Occult Museum. It's really different from the mirror that we see in the Conjuring movie, and not many people know the story. It was actually a really hard artifact to research, and I almost gave up researching on it because it was so hard to find the actual story. So the Conjuring mirror is a 5-foot mirror, and it is actually one of the most profane objects inside the Occult Museum. The original owner was Stephen Zellner, and there's no telling where he got the mirror from, but it wasn't much the mirror, but it was what he did with the mirror and what happened afterwards. Stephen's story is very short, and they don't go into too many detail in the website, but Ed and Lorraine had a lot to say about the experience of them having the mirror. So Stephen Zellner actually used the mirror to practice something called speculum, or mirror magic, and basically he was using this mirror as an instrument of black magic, which this magic could be used for good and evil, but come to think of it, it always leads to bad results, and basically that's what happened with Stephen. So Stephen first started an incantation ritual, or a conjuring formula, and that's how all of this kind of started. So a conjuring formula is somewhat of an invitation for the spirit world to come and help him to manipulate the future or maneuver around the future, and he was basically contacting spirits through this mirror, which obviously is never ever a good idea. These were also inhuman spirits, which means that they were never humans to begin with. They have no shred of humanity, and they're just not good spirits to be messing around with. Basically what Stephen would do is he would direct his gaze at the middle of the mirror, and he would use concentration, and Ed described this as kind of what psychics do with their crystal ball. They kind of just choose a point in the mirror to kind of concentrate on, and this is when they start their incantation ritual. So when Stephen first started doing this, he saw very little results and not much was happening. As days went by, however, he started seeing blurred forms in the mirror. Sometimes even there would be quick incidents inside his home, and it was never anything that he paid much attention to because he didn't really think much about it at the time. So after he had performed the ritual for many months, and by performed I mean he was obsessively doing this ritual, and he just wanted to get a good grasp of it, and he wanted it to work, so he was obsessively doing this for many months. So after he got the ritual to work, really all he had to do was state what he wanted to see, and the image that he wanted to see would just appear onto the mirror like magic. And this was the ritual in progress. This was the ritual working. And once he 100% perfected the ritual, he could basically see and predict the future days to years before it even happened. Sadly, Stephen decided to use occult power for bad, and it was a really, really bad move to do. So basically, Stephen started projecting people into the mirror, and these were, of course, people that he didn't like, people that he wanted to get revenge on, people that had done him wrong, basically, and he was hurting them. He would will misfortune on the person that he saw in the mirror, and again, this was one of his victims. It was one of the people that he didn't really like, or he didn't, or he wanted to do harm to. An example that Ed gave was if one of his victims was standing at the top of stairs and he wanted them to fall and break their arm and just fall and just die, the spirits would basically do this for him, and this was the problem. He actually wasn't the person doing it to the individuals. He had the power to tell the spirits what to do, but he wasn't the one doing it. It was the spirits doing it, and the spirits were doing this for him because he was asking them to. Keep in mind that these are inhuman spirits, so they don't have any humanity, and this obviously it went haywire. A bunch of bad stuff happened. The spirits basically turned on Zellner, and they were not helping him anymore, and instead of all the bad wishes going on to the people he hated, all the bad stuff that he was doing to them was actually happening to him. He was also supposed to pay homage to Satan, or the devil, and he didn't do that, so obviously that ended badly because he wasn't really acknowledging what he was supposed to acknowledge. He started to hear footsteps and heavy breathing. Doors would close and open all on their own. Things would levitate around the house or get flung into the walls and break. And he even reported hearing unearthly noises, and this would keep him up at night or wake him up in the middle of the night. And all of this was happening while he lived alone in his home, and there was no one else in his home that could have been doing this. It was just him, and he was hearing all of these noises, and all of these things were happening. After all of this happened, it became really clear that there was a presence inside his home that got in uninvited through all these rituals that he was doing, and that was doing harm to him personally, and his ritual was no longer working. And he couldn't do anything about it because he was the one that invited these spirits into his life and into his home, of course with a different purpose, the purpose being to hurt other people. But the spirits ended up turning on him, and all he was doing now was hurting himself. Weeks after the haunting started, Zellner was finally over it. He was terrified, and he just wanted it to be over. So he contacted a Catholic official and basically begged them to bring a demonologist into his home to kind of fix things. Instead of doing so, however, the Catholic Church actually invited Ed Warren, and they told him about the case. And this is where Ed and Lorraine Warren kind of get involved. So basically they asked Ed to kind of investigate the house and make sure that everything was kind of okay there, and of course Ed did. He said several times that he was very busy, but people were always first to him and Lorraine, especially with hauntings. So Ed went over to his house, and he said that he found a man that was completely terrified. He was so scared to be in his home, and he was so scared of what was happening, and that's the man that Ed Warren was helping, was a terrified Stephen Zellner. While Ed and Lorraine were talking to Zellner, they suddenly started to hear a bunch of honking outside. Their initial thought was that there was an accident or something going on, so Ed turned around and looked out the window. When he turned around, he saw that his car was parked in the middle of the street, and there was a bunch of cars honking at them, and it was weird. There was his car that he had left parked was in the middle of the street, and now it wasn't letting cars get by. A witness actually told Ed and Lorraine that they saw their car drive backward on its own. So Ed went to investigate his car, and he found that it was exactly the way he had left it. The emergency brake was on, his doors were locked, and nothing out of the ordinary had happened, except the fact that his car had just suddenly went from one side to the other, and it was now parked in the middle of the street. So by now it was very clear to Ed that something paranormal was really happening, and basically what Ed Warren had to do was reverse the ritual that Zellner had done. After they were done, Stephen Zellner asked Ed and Lorraine Warren to take the mirror out of his house. He no longer wanted it. He wanted no part with the mirror, and Ed and Lorraine actually agreed to take it, and they put it in the back of their car in the trunk. However, removing the Conjuring mirror from where the spirits were incantated was very, very dangerous. It actually made Ed and Lorraine Warren a target to the spirit world. While driving home with the mirror in the trunk, Ed and Lorraine noticed a strange trailer tractor that was kind of trying to go in front of them. Basically, they were driving and this tractor was behind them, and this tractor just kind of went in front of them and started driving in front of them. Right off the bat, Ed noticed that there was something really weird about the trailer tractor. It had no letters on it, had no sponsorships, no names. It was just blank, and there was nothing really on it. And that was really weird to begin with for Ed and Lorraine. It's just not the ordinary thing to kind of just see a trailer tractor that doesn't have any of these things on them. Per se, there's a lot of trucks that are for Safeway or for Walmart, but this one kind of just didn't have anything on it, and it was just plain. So this kind of really made it weird to them. So it drove in front of them, and then the tractor started releasing gallons and gallons of green sludge. Ed and Lorraine described it as a green slimy sludge. And this was pouring all over the windshield. Thankfully, they weren't on any curves or anything like that. And he really tried for the wind wipers to get them off. So when the wind wipers finally got this weird substance off and he was able to see again, the truck had actually completely vanished. The truck vanished from in front of them, but Ed noticed that the truck was actually behind them again, and it was going to the front of them. So the truck ended up in front of them for the second time, and basically it just dumped the sludge on them again, and the same thing happened. The third time it happened, Ed and Lorraine Warren pulled over, and they could only describe it of the feeling of something being really sinister and something really paranormal going on. And this happened actually several times after as well. Like it kept happening, and eventually Ed and Lorraine decided to get off of the highway and take smaller routes to their house, like little roads. However, while they were doing this, they came with an encounter with a speeding jet black car. Again, it had no license plates, it had no lights, nothing, and keep in mind this was in the dark, so it had no lights, and they just knew that it was a jet black car. The jet black car was basically just speeding right behind them, and it was about to hit the back of their car before it swerved around them and kept driving. Lorraine actually told Ed that it was as if the devil had just driven past them, and the devil himself. So after that happened, he kept a close eye on the jet black car and noticed that it went up a small hill, and it basically was out of sight in the moment, but he noticed that the car suddenly hit the brakes and basically turned around and was coming straight back down the hill towards them. So they were about to have a front-on-front collision, and obviously that would have killed Ed and Lorraine Warren. So obviously Ed did not know what to do, so he told Lorraine to get on the floor and call on Saint Michael. Ed said that he had this funny instinct, so he just kept driving forward towards the car. He did not swerve it or anything. Right before he was supposed to smash into the car, his car actually swerved around and it just kept turning. And when it came to a stop and he looked up, the car was gone. It was vanished, and they didn't see it again. Obviously, they eventually got home and they put the Conjuring mirror inside their occult museum, where it still resides today with Lorraine Warren. And there's not a lot of information on what exactly happened in Zellner's house, and there's not a lot of information on how the mirror could possibly still be haunted, or what it does in the occult museum, or anything like that. It's just a kind of more reserved story, and you have very little information to go off of but what happened to Ed and Lorraine. So yes, this was super duper strange, and I really wanted to kind of make a video about the Conjuring mirror because I thought it was a really interesting story. So I really hope that you guys enjoyed this video. I know I had a lot of fun making it, and I really hope that you guys will watch the rest of the series because I love filming videos, especially these type of creepy videos. The Conjuring mirror is probably one of the most fascinating artifacts that they have in their museum, just because there's so little information on it. If you believe that this is real, give it a thumbs up, and if you don't, you should still give it a thumbs up. If you guys want some creepy videos for Halloween, leave it in the comment below. I definitely will be busy with these kinds of occult museum videos, but if I do see an idea that's really good, I will make a video about it, because I love doing these type of videos. But yes, thank you guys so much for watching. Don't forget to click that subscribe button and also thumbs up this video. Go check out my main channel, which is julia.aml. I know I haven't posted there in forever, and I'm really working on posting a Halloween video soon, which is why I haven't posted any of my pre-recorded videos, because I want to post a Halloween drawing. But yes, thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye. Stay paranormal. And again, keep in mind that these were inhuman spirits. They don't have any humanity. Why are you just watching me?
Because she's here.
So, while I just lost my train of thought. However, removing the conjuring mirror from its so-called home, or where the spirits were and actually made Ed and Lorraine Warren a target to this and obviously there's not a lot of information.